and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick, with the city's Communication and Marketing Department. And today we're going to be talking about bridges and streets. This is one area in the city where you really don't notice the streets unless you see a pothole or unless it's bumpy. And when things are going well, they're almost beyond recognition. So today we have with us Tyler Richardson, who heads up that department.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Welcome, Tyler.
Thank you.
So you guys come in for a lot of criticism, would be my guess. You hear from the citizens whenever there's a bump in the road, right?
We hear every day from the citizens, whether it's a bump in the road, a piece of trash in the road, a pothole, or just questions about why isn't my street been paved?
Right. And we're an aging city with aging infrastructure, and I'm going to bet that a lot. I mean, if you were to go out right now, you would tell me a whole bunch of these roads need to be repaved, more than there's money for.
Absolutely. We actually have a survey. We have a contractor who does a survey for us every 3 years and rates our streets to tell us what the rating is. That way we can put a priority on what we want to do. Unfortunately, right now, 50% of the streets in the city of Hampton fail the 40 or less rating, which is the number we look for. Anything above 40 has some lifetime span left in it.
That's a lot.
Pretty good. Yes, that's a lot. Right now, believe it or not, we're working on the streets that are 20 and below, trying to get those knocked out of the way. So it's an ongoing process, but I think in the coming year, the citizens are going to see a lot of activity. We're dedicating a lot of resources, a lot of money, and they'll see a noticeable difference this coming year.
It is a lot of money. You mentioned, what's your repaving budget for this year?
This year we're going to spend about $5.4 million using a contractor to resurface as many streets in the city as we can. We used our rating program and we selected streets to be repaved off of that. We've went back out, we've reevaluated because we have another rating that has come out since, so we could really compare to see what happened.
Because you can kind of project which streets and roads are going to be bad, but weather conditions or additional traffic,
Yep.
I mean, there are a lot of things that can change between the time you go back out.
Absolutely. A lot of things happen. A new subdivision could get built in behind another one.
Oh,
Construction,
right.
Traffic can mess it up. 311 calls, people call in. Sometimes we find that underground water, drainage has created a road issue, and we have to go in and redo it. So there's a lot of things we stay on top of. So our paving schedule is really very fluid. We have a plan, but we can't always just stick to that plan. Things change because of conditions.
Right. And what is the time frame for paving? I know it's weather dependent. You can only do it in a certain portion of the year.
We have to kind of follow the VDOT guidelines, the Virginia Department of Transportation. They say that all paving activities, contract activities, should stop on December the 1st. And if the weather cooperates, they will let us go past that as long as we can keep our temperatures above 40 degrees.
Which can happen.
It can happen.
Right.
And if it does, we keep pushing, keep pressing forward. If we get into really a bad winter, we have to stop, and then we'll pick it up again on April the 1st. That's kind of where we hit at. Now, if the weather changes, it gets warmer sooner, we'll pick it up sooner. But it is all weather related, and it also depends on the suppliers of the asphalt. When weather turns bad, a lot of times they'll quit supplying asphalt, and we're at their mercy.
Right. Now, so if how do you decide which streets get repaved then? If it's not because I go to city council and I stand up and scream, repave my street, it's the worst in the whole city.
We still, when that happens, and it happens often, I go back to our plan, what we paid for. We have a third party doing it, evaluating, and we go back and we look at the ratings. And we actually tell people, well, I know your road isn't perfect, but it has a rating, let's say, of a 54. There are many streets, I'm sorry, that are a lot worse than you are. They're in the 20s and in the 30s. So please be understanding that we will get to you, but right now we got to take care of the priority first, which is the worst.
So you really use objective criteria to determine what that priority order is,
Right.
and how fast you're going to get to things.
That's what we do. We've got, gosh, I looked at it just recently, and it's over 3,000 pages of the way they rate the streets. The street gets rated every 520 feet is a rating.
Oh, so portions of a road could be bad, but the whole
Right.
road maybe not.
And
okay.
the citizens have seen a lot of us doing a lot of patching this year, a lot of pavement patching. And that's why we did. We know that part of the road is good, part of the road is bad. So we try to extend the life. A city street should get about 20 years of life service out of it. An interstate highway asphalt will get 7 years out of it. So
wow, that explains why they're out there all the time on
yeah.
64.
Yeah.
There's a lane closed everywhere all
That's
the time.
right. They get about 7 years of life out of it. That's all they get. And then they go back and spend the millions of dollars. It's a ongoing process. It never stops.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that we use a contractor. That's one of those city services that requires some specialized equipment and experience, and we do contract that service out.
We do. We contract out all of our major paving. Now, this city is one of the few in Tidewater, and maybe the only one now in Tidewater, that does have a paving crew. We have a paver, we have a milling machine, and we can do the work. Now, when you talked about political stuff a moment ago, when that jumps up and there's just no way around it and somebody's really pressing one of our city council people or the mayor, and we use a city crew and we do go out and do it. And they do very good work. I'm very proud of them. It's a very small crew, but they get a whole lot done with a little bit of stuff.
Now, in terms of potholes also, you guys do that in-house.
Yes. Well,
How many potholes a day do you, when it's in the busy season? I remember Lynn Ellsbrook gave me a number, and I forget what it is now. But
well, in the wintertime, when right after a snowstorm, we're probably doing 15 to 30 a day. This time of year right now, we're doing 15 a week. And the rain causes that. We also have a contractor who helps us with potholes. We had a lot of potholes crop up over the years, and we've been trying to put our paving plan together so we could spend our money wisely. So we used a contractor to do a lot of that. Now we're backing away from the contractor. We have the city forces. We've kind of got it under control.
Okay.
So we're going
But
that
if
way.
people do have a pothole or a road problem, we really encourage them to call 311.
Absolutely. Call 311 and also realize there's a priority on a pothole. Some potholes are damaging to vehicles, and we have a criteria. If it's 12 inches round or 12 inches square, however you look at it, and more than 2 inches deep, that's high priority. That's a dangerous hole. If it's a little hole in the road, some people call about something the size of a softball. That doesn't hit high on the priority list.
And I would imagine it also is if it's on a major road that a lot of cars use a lot versus my little neighborhood street, which 10 people live on.
Right. The arterial roads, the Mercury Boulevards, the power plant, those we try to get to as fast as we can. We try to set ourselves a standard of being there within 24 hours. It doesn't always
That's a pretty good
work.
standard, though.
But we have a criteria that we have set up in our office, and we try to follow that guideline.
So when that call comes in, you go out and look at it pretty quickly. And
Yep. It comes in today. By tomorrow morning, it will be evaluated. And if it's critical, there'll be a person out fixing it that day. If it's not, they'll be out there, within that week to take care of it.
Okay. Now you also do sidewalks, right?
We do sidewalks.
And curbs and gutters?
And curbs and gutters and driveway entrances. Now, driveway entrances, we do them only when they belong to the city. 99% of the driveway entrances belong to the citizens in Hampton. It's their responsibility to maintain. Sidewalks, we look for sidewalks that create trip hazards. Curb and gutter that has broken up or broken off from years of wear and tear, cars hitting them, rubbing up against them, or where it creates drainage issues. And we stay pretty busy.
I bet.
Yeah, we have a crew of 6
There's
guys.
so many tree roots pulling up those sidewalks.
Tree roots
they're
push 'em up.
beautiful, but it's an
Right.
older city. You've got those giant trees.
Well, in a lot of areas, we also use another contractor, and they use a saw that's a horizontal saw. And when we can, and the sidewalk's not too bad, they can actually saw the trip hazard off, cut the top of the sidewalk off for us, and save us money. We can do hundreds of those repairs for what it cost us to do 10 of tear it out and put it back in.
Now, wait. Tell me what you mean by a horizontal saw.
It's a horizontal saw that cuts sideways. They can lay it down against the high crack in the sidewalk, and actually, if you will, plane or shave the top of it off and bring it back smooth.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's a company out of Carolina that comes up and does it for us. And,
That's a technology I've never heard of before.
Yeah, we use that downtown quite a lot. We try to keep from tearing stuff up.
Where there's little bumps especially.
Anything over a ½ inch we can cut off. And when they start getting above 2 inches, we have to replace the sidewalk. But we can pretty well trim them down, cut them off, plane them down. And again, we encourage people, 311. If your sidewalk has a trip hazard or you have a problem, please let us know, and then we have to put a priority on that too.
So the citizens really are the extra eyes and ears there.
Yes.
Because your department is how big?
We're 18 strong in the streets and probably 6 administrative people. That's where we're at. So we're pretty small, but we do a lot with what we got. We also manage all the right-of-way permits and land disturbance permits within the city as well. So we deal with all the contractors coming in to build a subdivision or to build a house. Whatever they're doing, they're coming through our door too, and we deal with them every day as well.
Gotcha. Now, are we prepared for a disaster if you need to clear the roadways or, snow in the wintertime?
Yeah, we are. The Public Works section of Hampton is a proud group of people, and they pull together like a little army. We had the tornado. We cleaned it up really quick. We moved stuff out. Hundreds of loads of debris gone.
It was amazing. It was amazing the way, really everybody pulled together. Parks and Rec was involved, the roads crews were involved, the regular trash pickup people.
Yep. Everybody just pulls together as a team, and it really feels good when you have a team of people like that. During snowstorms, they do the same thing. We use all the people, the teams come together because no one section can do it on their own.
Well, you can't staff for those things that only happen, once or twice a year.
That's
it
right.
doesn't make sense for the taxpayers.
That's right. And, you speak of right now, the fleet division is starting to service our snow equipment, making sure we're ready to go. We're sending it in now to have it serviced, so we're ready to go. We've stocked up all of our supplies of salt. We're full to the brim. All we can hold, as we bought it back when salt was a little cheaper, and we can stock it during the summertime, we can get it cheaper.
So if we do our own storage and plan ahead, we can get some discounts.
We get some discounts. We also use liquid brine and calcium chloride to put on our streets. We put what they call pre-wetting. We do that before snowstorms are coming in.
Hey, that's new technology, isn't it? I don't remember that.
No, it's new to the city. When I first came here, it's one of the things I've been using a long time. And we use 24% salt water, basically. We have a machine that makes it. We also furnish it now. We started using it. We furnish it to Langley Air Force Base, gets it from us. City of Newport News and comes and buys it from us.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it cost us a fraction of what it costs to put down rock salt because we can make so much of it, hundreds of thousands of gallons of it for a little bit.
And that's also interesting the way, one city, in this case Hampton, takes something on but then shares it so that the other localities don't have to have that capital cost. They can just buy the service as long as there's enough.
We have a computerized system we were able to get to do it. We use it more than anybody in this area. And it made me feel good that people recognized how well it did. We had a snowstorm a few years ago, and our streets were clean before everybody else thought about it. Because when you put down the liquid brine, the snow, the ice, the stuff, it doesn't stick to the road.
It doesn't stick right off the bat.
The road might turn white, but we can get it off real quick, real easy. And it saves a lot of money. And it's actually easier on people's cars. We don't have broken windshields. We don't have all that to deal with. So it's just new technology out there. And if you don't stay up with technology, you're behind the curve.
How do you stay up with technology busy as you are?
You read a lot. Well, my background, I came out of VDOT, 22 years in VDOT, in this area on the interstates working. I left VDOT and went into the private world and helped a man build a company to do interstate maintenance. And when you go into the private sector and you build, it's all profit driven.
Exactly.
So you're looking for the easiest, fastest way to do everything. And we did some testing with that company actually on Afton Mountain using the brine. We had some funding. VDOT actually gave us some funding to help us push it along.
Afton's such a mess. It makes sense to look at that. Yeah.
So we did Afton Mountain, and we did some testing, and now the state's using the brine. If people go look at the state government, the VDOT, they're running brine on the interstates. They kind of took our technology, our ideas, and we put it out there for them. We were I hate to say this word, the guinea pig, if you would, and proved that we could do something. A lot of northern states do a lot of things, and we got the idea kind of out of North Dakota, seeing what they were doing.
That's interesting. And so you even in your job in the public sector now, you look to save that kind of money the way you did in the private sector because you're saving the taxpayers' money.
That's right.
Rather than it going to a profit
Right.
for a board of directors or company officials.
Right. You got to remember, I only get X amount of dollars from the states from our urban funding to work with. So we've got to be frugal with what we do. We got to stretch it. So everything we can do to cut costs and still get a good product, we have to hunt for it. You know, like cutting the sidewalk, we know that will save us money in the long term.
It's a great idea. I've never even heard of it before.
You know, there's many things that we look for, and I'm proud of my team of people because they help me. We'll see things, and sometimes it's just something somebody saw on TV and they're like, did you see this? And we get an idea and we go run with it a little bit and see where it'll take us. But the citizens really come to us and bring us a lot of ideas too. That just in questions, when they ask questions, it makes you think. And can we do it better? Should we do it better? And it's just a thought process. And I've been living and breathing this, it seems like, all my life. So
You really have. What brought you to the city of Hampton?
my wife told me I had to get a job.
Darn her! Why would she do that?
I had kind of retired and had actually almost taken a year off, and I was getting bored too. And I saw the job over here, and I knew some of the people from over here, and I had worked in the Hampton area before, and I really like working in government work. I like serving people more than I do private sector. You know, making money is good and building profit for people and all, but I like the gratitude, I like the satisfaction of people smiling and saying thank you. And it makes me feel good. You know, we get a lot of compliments from our citizens. Every day we'll get a compliment on something we've done. And I keep every one of them. Every citizen sends in, I keep and share with the team of people involved. And it just feels good to know that you're making a difference somewhere. And yeah, that's why I did it.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much. We're glad you're here.
Well, thank you. I enjoy it. I like the city of Hampton. There's good people. It's growing. It has huge opportunities, and I hope everybody will look at it and see that. I see where we've got a sign out now that says, visit downtown Hampton, take a detour and visit downtown Hampton. And that's a good idea. People need to come see it. They're missing a little gem out here in the middle of everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. And I think, you know, whatever's going to happen to Fort Monroe over the next 10 or 20 years is really going to define and redefine Hampton. There's so much promise there.
Fort Monroe is a challenge for the city. It's a challenge for the state.
It's a challenge for the state, mostly.
It's a challenge, but it has such opportunities, and it will be such a great thing for the city when it comes to life, actually.
Yeah. It's going to take a little while to build, but there's already a lot out there.
There is. There's a lot there. I envision a lot of stuff that could happen there that's just my thoughts, and hopefully, you know, I've shared them with a few people. I hope some people will look at that, you know.
Great. Well, Tyler, is there anything else we need to talk about? Streets, we didn't talk about bridges at all.
Bridges.
We have a lot of bridges.
We have a lot of bridges.
Creeks.
The citizens of Hampton should be very proud of their bridge section because we have the highest rating on bridges in the Tidewater area.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have the highest rating and inspection ratings around. VDOT has rated us the highest. We do very well there. We have 3 men do that, believe it or not. 3 people take care of all the bridges.
Wow, that's a lot. You know, I see the bridges from, I'm a kayaker, and so I see a lot of those bridges from underneath.
Yes.
Pretty confident there.
It is. I'm very confident in them. River Street Bridge, we know it's getting replaced. It's the worst we have in the city.
Is a bad one.
And it's getting replaced. It's finishing up on this design and money appropriation. The other thing we didn't talk about is shoulders and parking. People like to park on the grass or shoulders in front of their homes. And we get a lot of calls where people want us to come repair them. Well, I encourage everybody, please use your driveway if you can and don't park on the grass, because the ground in Hampton is not that stable, and we can't make, I don't care how much stone I put there or how much whatever I put there, it is going to rut out and it's going to get muddy and it's going to hold water. So if people would just think a little bit, try to park on the asphalt or park in designated areas or park in your driveway. But if you're unfortunate and you can't do anything else and you have to park there and you need our help, call us and we'll come out and talk with you and see what we can do. Sometimes we can help, sometimes we can't. So we always go out and visit folks and see what we can do for them.
So you're talking about those neighborhoods that don't have curb and gutter?
Yes, where there's no curb and gutter and they're parking in the grass, and there's always so much we can do. There's utilities there. There's a lot of problems with digging and doing. So if people will just be a little thoughtful and they'll help themselves. And then we come out and we try to do what we can, but we can't solve every problem in those neighborhoods. It's just unrealistic. It won't happen. But the people are very good. Most are understanding. They understand what we're trying to do, and once we have a little discussion, they know what we can do for them or what we can't do for them.
That's good. So if people have any sort of problem, they should call 311 and at least find out what,
Call
if
us.
any, resources are available and what they can do, what city can do.
Right. We have a person dedicated to do nothing but to look at 311 issues, and then if he can't decide what to do, then he comes back and we go for a ride and we go look and let's come up with a decision. And, we go out and talk to folks. A lot of people talk about alleys and everything, and just go out into the community. I spend a lot of time in the community now just explaining what we can do and we can't do. So it's...
I used to live in a neighborhood along an alley, and at first I almost didn't know it was there. They're back there, and they're small, and
most of them are 9 foot wide. A lot of them are what we call unimproved alleys.
Oh, yeah.
And people have just turned them into their yards. And they're there because there may be a sewer line that ran back there or something, and that's the only reason they're there. Then we still have some alleys that people actually use to drive on, park, and everything.
the garages in the back, some of those old neighborhoods.
Yeah, the older neighborhoods up in Wythe, you see a lot of them.
Yeah, that's when I lived in Wythe, I had one.
Yep. And you see them there, and people use them, and we go out and we try to maintain those as well. People call 311, and we try to take care of that too.
Well, that's great. You do a lot.
We do a lot. We do. We get into a lot of stuff, and it's more challenging than I thought it would be when I came to the city, but we're getting that under control. It's fun.
Well,
I enjoy what I do.
We're glad to have you.
Well, good.
And thank you for coming today and sharing this with us.
Well, thank you for having me. And if people have questions, go through 311. Ask us. We'll try everything we can to get you an answer. It might not be what you want to hear, but you'll get an answer.
That's the most important thing, I think. And the citizen satisfaction survey that we just completed really showed that people are getting answers, and they know how to get information. They know how to call or how to check the website and really understand what we're trying to do. They don't always like the answer,
right?
But they acknowledge that they get one.
Yeah, we're putting a lot of stuff on the website. Our paving schedule is on the website up through 2013.
And that's hampton.gov, and then you click on Public Works.
Correct. And you can find the resurfacing schedules, you can find the maps, you can find the list of the roads. And like I said, it's fluid, it moves.
Right,
So,
but we're trying to be transparent and let people know, here's what's coming up. You're on the list or you're not on the list for this year.
That's right.
For next year, how far out do you go?
We're out through 2013 right now. We're getting ready to go out through 15. We're preparing to go out through 15 right now. So that's an ongoing process too. And we're trying to project the money. You never know what that money is going to be. So you try to work within it, project it, and work it out, and hope the state never cuts off our funding.
Well, the state road funding doesn't seem real secure for the long-term future, but it seems there's maintenance funds for a little while.
Yeah, maintenance funds I think will keep coming. It's just you don't know if they'll ever cut them or not, so you just really have to watch it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Tyler, for coming.
Thank you so much for having me, and y'all have a great day.
Great. And thank you for watching this episode of Round Robin. I hope you've learned as much as I have about some of the new technology and contracting opportunities that are saving the city money and helping to repair and resurface those roads. Thank you.